How will you be spending your summer? At a holiday job, a summer camp, summer school? How about a staycation? Whatever it is that you decide, we urge you to continue reducing your exposure to heat. Keep hydrated, stay indoors, and limit your exposure to the midday sun. Take cold showers or baths, and wear loose, light-colored clothes. For more information, visit moh.gov.jm. Your favorite magazine program from the Jamaica Information Service continues with a word of advice, followed by the news.
It's important to store water during periods of drought. It's even more important to ensure that the water is safe. Boiling and treating your water with bleach are two of the best ways to purify water. If you choose the boiling method, allow the water to boil for 5 minutes, cover, and let it cool. Store boiled water in a clean, airtight container and use something with a handle to take out the water when needed. If you use bleach to make your water safe for drinking, use 2 drops of bleach to a liter of water, 8 drops for a gallon, and ½ teaspoon of bleach for 5 gallons of water. Shake well and leave for half an hour before use. Water is essential to a healthy life, so ensure yours is clean and safe for consumption.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Monday, July 8. One assault rifle was recovered in the South St. Andrew Police Division yesterday, following the declaration of a state of public emergency for the area. The high-powered weapon was found by one of the firearm detection dogs from the Jamaica Constabulary Forces K-9 Division, just hours after Prime Minister Andrew Holness declared that the state of emergency was necessary to stem the high level of violent crimes in the area. Police data shows that St. Andrews South recorded the highest number of murders since the start of the year with 94 cases. The figure is 15 more than the 79 murders recorded for the corresponding period last year.
Jamaica has too much potential, and we cannot allow the criminals, the dons, the gangs who use guns to prevent us from achieving our destiny of being a prosperous nation.
The SOE will give the security forces temporary additional powers to search, arrest, and detain. Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson says this is critical as the upswing in the level of crime in the division in the last 2 months is at a scale which greatly endangers public safety.
Our objectives of the state of emergency in St. Andrews South are therefore to establish and maintain a period of low violent crime in the volatile communities within that police division, and to normalize these communities and provide safety for the residents. To disrupt the free movement of criminal gangs and weapons and deny them the opportunity to commit violent crimes. And to provide the opportunity for greater investigative focus on perpetrators of violent crimes and their facilitators.
He says members of the public can assist by complying at security checkpoints, calling Crime Stop at 311 to report illegal activities, and reporting unprofessional conduct by members of the security forces. Meanwhile, Chief of Defense Staff for the Jamaica Defense Force, Lieutenant General Rocky Meade, has outlined the boundaries of the South St. Andrews state of public emergency. Starting in the north, the boundaries extend in an easterly direction along the Belvedere to Ferry Road to the foot of Red Hills at the intersection of Perkins Boulevard, Molynes Road, and Red Hills Road.
And in the east, starting at the foot of Red Hills Road at that said intersection, extending in a southeasterly direction along Molynes Road, Seaward Drive, Mimosa Road, Aloe Avenue, Bay Farm Road, Newark Avenue, Elm Crescent, Keesing Avenue, Hagley Park Road, O'Mara Road, and Chisholm Avenue at the point of intersection with Maxfield Avenue.
To the south, the boundaries extend southwesterly from the intersection of Chisholm Avenue and Maxfield Avenue along Maxfield Avenue onto East Avenue to the coastline in the vicinity of Petrojam, and extending along the said coastline in the vicinity of the Kingston Container Terminal to the Portmore Causeway Bridge.
In the west, continuing in a northwest westerly direction from the Portmore Causeway Bridge along the Fresh River, the shared parish border of St. Andrew and St. Catherine, west of Riverton, and extending to the vicinity of the westernmost end of the Belvedere to Ferry Secondary Road.
South St. Andrew joins Westmoreland, Hanover, and St. James, which were similarly placed on the states of public emergency in April. In other news, the Accident and Emergency Department at the Princess Margaret Hospital has undergone extensive rehabilitation and expansion work. The National Health Fund provided $217.5 million to offset the cost of the work on the St. Thomas-based institution. At last Thursday's official reopening, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton said the upgrades to the 64-year-old facility would help it meet the projected increase in service demand resulting from the various development projects planned for St. Thomas.
But I have no doubt that the 120,000 or so citizens of this parish, the 40,000 or so I'm told who use different services here in a given year of one form or another, whether diagnostic, tests or otherwise, will see this enhanced facility quite useful, and it will tap into the overall development of the parish.
Princess Margaret Hospital's expansion increases the A&E department's bed count by 10 and adds 2 new examination rooms, a minor ops room with recovery area, an isolation area, separate medical records filing space, and sanitary facilities for patients and staff, as well as a lounge area for staff. The project also included the acquisition and installation of an elevator, acquisition of surgical equipment, and upgrading of the electrical system. Meanwhile, a new Drug Serv Pharmacy is to be constructed at the Bustamante Hospital for Children within another 8 months. The National Health Fund is providing the $50 million cost of the project. At last Friday's contract signing and groundbreaking ceremony, NHF CEO Everton Anderson said the 3,000 square foot facility had been designed to meet the Pharmacy Council standards.
We salute the improvements that will come for the patients. Comfortable waiting area, sterile room, manufacturing room, an area to provide for every single patient in terms of counseling with our patients.
The new pharmacy will have 8 dispensing windows for timely processing of prescriptions. It will also be equipped with staff areas, a multipurpose room, and a sick bay. Work is to begin on the digitization of all birth records at the Registrar General's Department, RGD, as part of the continued upgrading of the government's ICT infrastructure. Parliamentary Secretary Senator Robert Morgan made the disclosure while addressing a recent meeting of the Lions Club of Kingston. He said that eGov Jamaica Limited was procuring equipment for the RGD digitization as well as to build out the government's ICT framework. The objective is to create a platform where citizens can better interact with the government and facilitate quicker and easier access to services, thereby enhancing the ease of doing business. The work is being done under the National Identification System NIDS project, which is being implemented through a $68 million loan from the Inter-American Development Bank. While the identification project has been halted due to the Supreme Court ruling earlier this year, which rendered the enabling legislation null and void, Mr. Morgan said the ICT component continues.
But the government is going to remain true to what the court has said. So yes, so the government is going to implement NIDS, but we're continuing to implement non-NIDS activities such as the ICT infrastructure. And we'll continue to develop new processes to deliver fully digital services. We've already started at RGD.
He said the majority of the funds, about 80%, was being spent on the ICT upgrade, which is crucial to transforming Jamaica into a truly digital society. And finally, Prime Minister Andrew Holness says Jamaica will miss a civil servant of the highest order as he expresses condolences on the passing of Ambassador Elinor Felix. Ambassador Felix, who was the former Chief of State Protocol in the office of the Prime Minister, died on the weekend after a battle with cancer. She was only a week shy of her 71st birthday. The Prime Minister says she was a diplomat and ambassador who served her country well, adding that she was a woman who inspired. Felix was also the former ambassador to Cuba and worked in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade for several years. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Water is precious. So we encourage everyone to practice the 4 R's of water conservation. Always remember to reduce your use of water wherever possible. Replace water wasting devices with water savings devices. Reuse water wherever possible. And wherever leaks are found, please repair them and repair them quickly.
Don't delay. Practice the 4 R's of water conservation today.
Most of us are in vacation mode, and if your plans include a trip overseas, then this next feature is a must-watch.
Shirley Johnson's office, morning.
Mr. Shirley, me get the invitation from America.
We know that long time, Veronica. Finally, you can walk on foreign soil and stop daydreaming on people them job. What? You know the password?
Watch out. Passport is easy thing to get. You want to stress that. Oh, what a nice day.
I don't want fast ram as usual. Lovely to people conversation. But that's true. The easiest thing to get is a passport now.
Shirley. How you get a passport again?
A passport is one of the most important forms of identification a person can possess that also proves citizenship. Getting one is a relatively easy process. There are certain requirements that a person like Veronica should ensure they fulfill before they can be issued the document.
Just fill out an application form and take along with it 2 passport-size photo to PICA.
Where you get the form from?
Application forms are available at the offices of the Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency PICA, on their website and police headquarters island-wide.
Evie, listen now. You must make sure, see, that the passport form and one of the photograph is certified by a list of persons on the application form that are authorized to sign the form. Like your just of the peace, your pastor, your daughter, headmistress, you know, those persons listed.
Come on.
And make sure you submit the form and the photo before 6 months. Because knowing you, who love to procrastinate, after that is no longer valid. And you have to do the process all over again.
All right.
Fees should be paid on the day that the application is submitted, and the applicant should take along supporting documents, such as a birth certificate or marriage certificate where necessary. If you are a first-time applicant like Veronica, you must appear in person either at the head office or to an immigration officer situated in the police divisional headquarters in each parish. Let's say your passport has expired, there are no more pages for visas, or you've changed your name. You are required to complete an application form and submit the expired passport as well as your birth certificate and photograph. Passports are issued on the date stipulated on the receipt. If collecting in person, you should present the receipt. If collecting on behalf of another person, a letter signed by the applicant and a copy of the applicant's ID must accompany the receipt. Overseas applicants can collect their passport at the mission office in their location.
V, when you're saying about your passport, make sure you secure the document, you know, because I need them rampant.
Yeah, man.
So, my friend, you know, ready to go for your passport?
Definitely, Shirley.
All right, chat later because I have something to finish off. All right, so later.
All right, Shirley, thanks.
All right, anytime.
For more information on the services offered by the Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency, please contact the Customer Service Unit, 25C Constant Spring Road, Kingston 10, or telephone 754-5249, or visit www.pica.gov.jm.
It's always beautiful in Jamaica. Everything usually be green and pretty. We have beautiful water. Temperature that is normal temperature, the water never cold. We've been into business for about 13 years. JUSC-COOL, just cool. It's spelled with 3 0. We make 3 different types of pudding. We make potato, we make cornmeal, and we make toto. This is the cornmeal, okay? That's actually almost the last process. What he's gonna do now, he's gonna put a gel on top. Within no time, he has to take it off because the gel give it a nice taste. We have people like Shelley and Fraser came here. We have, you could name the biggest artists, Shabba Ranks, name them all. Being the Man, they all come here and buy their pudding. This is what we grew up on. Now, when the people come to Jamaica, everybody, as soon as they land off the plane, this is where they come. They want to taste this pudding because it brings them back to the old days. The long time days when they was kids growing up and they used to sit on the fire and watch their mama or their grandmother bake the pudding. We try not to change off our roots, we try to keep it that way. And not only that, we have a lot of love because we're all about love.
Reports suggest that students who are not actively engaged over the summer holidays may lose up to 3 months in reading and math progress. Here are some ways to prevent that.
Wow, what a school year that was. The pickups, the drop-offs, the exams, the classes. Oh, I'm so glad for the break. Thank you, summer.
But wait, all play and no work is just as bad as all work and no play.
Studies suggest that mathematics and reading suffer significantly during the long summer months when students are away from the classroom. We don't want our children to suffer from summer learning loss. We want to help them maintain their academic development and possibly learn new skills over the summer break. Here are some workable ways to prevent the summer slide. Summer school and camps are sure ways of keeping your child active during the break from school. Not only are they educational and recreational, they may also help grow your child's interest in a particular area. As parents, we should take the time to read, write, and spell with our children. That way, their minds are constantly engaged. For older children, have them write reports on the interesting books they've read. And with that, your children will be ahead of the class when they're asked to write an essay about their summer holiday. What's more, all the parish libraries have a summer program that your children can be part of. In addition to reading sessions, the library offers embroidery, art and craft, performing arts, games, tablet tutorials, and computer training. Math is all around us, so there's no reason for the learning to stop when classes end. On the road, you and your child can take turns making up math problems and answering them. At home, cooking and baking can help with measurement and fractions. You can create summer jobs for your child with house chores that you pay for in cash or kind. Children can also take up gardening. Items on the grocery list can be added, subtracted, and multiplied. Games are also a good source of incorporating math into your child's routine during the summer months. You could try football, cricket, hopscotch, card games, and dominoes. And not only do games keep our children's brains sharp, being physically active reduces their risk of becoming obese. Jamaica is awash with parks, museums, zoos, and other cultural locations. They can help your child with civics, history, and integrated studies. There are also cultural events taking place during the summer months, including emancipation and independence celebrations. Aside from learning about our culture, the most important benefit from these excursions is spending quality time with our loved ones. For children going to a new school or a new grade, introduce them to their new books. Have them read stories and practice math problems. Parents can also make flashcards with their children and by so doing, revise all that they've learned over the weeks. Children may explore their creative side by making a movie on a smartphone or tablet. There are also tons of free educational websites that can help children stay on top of their learning throughout the summer.
When I try these, my children will definitely be ahead of the curve.
Know your numbers and control the keys to a healthier heart. Know the numbers for your blood pressure, cholesterol level, blood glucose level, and your weight and body mass index. Give yourself a fighting chance. Find out the risks they represent and what you need to do to stay healthy. Talk to your doctor and start making healthy lifestyle choices to prevent a heart attack or stroke.
The summer heat currently impacting the island may cause lightheadedness, fainting spells, or dizziness. But did you know these are symptoms of another potentially fatal condition? Take a look.
You're up and about going through your routine activities. Suddenly, you collapse without warning. Your heart stops beating, and within seconds, you stop breathing. A quick check shows there's no pulse. All signs of sudden cardiac arrest. Sudden cardiac arrest, SCA, is a condition in which the heart unexpectedly stops beating. When this happens, blood stops flowing to the brain and other vital organs. The person may die if not treated within minutes.
So the way you decide if they're having sudden cardiac arrest is, in addition to seeing if they're conscious, calling to them and seeing if there's any response, you need to feel for a pulse. So you'd feel at the neck, at the angle of the jaw, or you could listen for the heartbeat by putting your ear to the patient's chest. You need to see if they're breathing. So if they're not breathing, they have no pulse, then they're in cardiac arrest.
SCA is not to be confused with a heart attack, which happens when blood flow to the heart is blocked. However, a heart attack can lead to sudden cardiac arrest. Another way to look at it is, a heart attack is a circulation problem, while sudden cardiac arrest is an electrical one. The immediate cause of most SCAs is an abnormal heart rhythm as the electrical activities of the heart becomes chaotic and the heart is unable to pump blood to the rest of the body.
We're all at risk for sudden cardiac death, so we need to know our numbers and our status. What is your blood pressure? Do you know what your blood pressure is? Do you know what your cholesterol is? So we might be a walking time bomb and we don't know. It's not just people who appear healthy who are at risk. Somebody can be overweight and you say, oh, they're bound to drop down, but somebody who is thin can drop down as well. It just depends what the other risk factors are. So I just think the only way we can know is to know your numbers, know your status.
Among the conditions that trigger sudden cardiac arrest is coronary artery disease, a more common cause in persons over 35 years old. Also, cardiomyopathy, in which the heart muscle becomes enlarged or thick and weak, as well as inherited disorders that may cause parts of the heart to stretch and become weak. Other conditions include disorders of the heart's electrical system, as well as heart defects that were exhibited at birth. Persons who have a family history of sudden cardiac arrest or heart disease are also at risk. In contrast to elderly persons, cases of SCA is not prevalent in children.
But the children can be born with some types of heart disease that make them have a higher risk for sudden cardiac arrest. That is usually picked up if they have, sometimes at birth, because of the abnormalities. But even if they're corrected, they can still have an increased risk of sudden cardiac arrest.
Highlighted cases of SCA in student athletes in recent years prompted increased focus on evaluation for the physically active.
I would like to encourage all parents, if you have a child who is involved in any team sport, any physical activity, or even a lot of physical activity, even if they're not on a team, to please have your child checked. Carry them for sudden cardiac arrest screening. We have it at the Heart Foundation. We can come island-wide, or go to your GP and have your child tested.
A victim of sudden cardiac arrest can survive with the quick action of a bystander who is able to apply immediately cardiopulmonary resuscitation, CPR.
You will start resuscitative efforts, which would include compressing the chest in order to get the heart going. You may or may not breathe for them. Nowadays, it is not, a lot of bystanders balk at starting CPR because they don't want to put their mouth on the patient's mouth. And I mean, that's a real concern. Studies were done a couple years ago and they determined that compression-only CPR, so just pressing on the chest alone, is of value.
If available, an automated external defibrillator, AED, can be used within a few minutes to restore a normal rhythm to the heart. These may be available at certain places such as airports, stadiums, and other public and business places.
If someone has developed chest pain, they've grabbed their chest, they've sank down on the ground because they're having chest pain or they're not breathing properly, you don't start CPR for that. They need to get to medical attention immediately. But you would only start CPR if the patient is pulseless and not breathing.
Following that bit of first intervention, which must take place within the first 4 to 5 minutes of sudden cardiac arrest, the patient will need to be moved immediately to a hospital. The Ministry of Health since 1996 has been partnering with the Ministry of Local Government through the Jamaica Fire Brigade to expand its provision of pre-hospital service.
We recognize that transportation of patients to hospital is a vital part of the chain of survival. Certainly from the patient suffers an incident to the point at which they reach hospital and get care, the transportation to hospital is important. And not only in terms of the time that it takes, but also in terms of the support that is provided during that transport.
You're supposed to have a defibrillator on the ambulance. You're supposed to have basic drugs which a trained paramedic would be able to administer to continue advanced cardiac life support. And when they get to the hospital, which would have been alerted from the ambulance that we're bringing in a cardiac arrest victim, the team would be waiting at the door of the hospital to receive this patient.
Based on the value of CPR in saving a life, the Ministry of Health has been partnering with the Heart Foundation of Jamaica to encourage more Jamaicans to get trained in CPR. And this important life skill is everybody's business, so get trained and be ready to lend a hand when the need arises.
Each time you're not paying full attention to the road environment, the greater your chances of getting in a crash like that. Plan routes to avoid focusing on GPS systems, prevent children from roaming in motor vehicles, turn down the volume of car stereo systems, pull off the roadway if you have to use mobile devices, do not read, watch television or eat while driving, avoid multitasking, and keep conversations with other passengers to a minimum. Whether you walk, ride or drive, avoid potentially fatal distractions.
And that's where we close our program, but only for today. We return tomorrow with another information-packed magazine just for you. Keep up with us at your leisure. Visit our website, download our mobile app, or join us on all the major social media platforms. On behalf of the entire news and production team here at the JIS, I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.